tonight. My name is Lisa Connolly. I currently chair the board, and on behalf of the board, I'd like to just welcome you all to what I think is number 39, Ro? Graduation number 39, maybe? Yeah, we're close. And just want to thank, as I do every year, our faculty, staff, and administration for another wonderful year. Thank the parents and the family and the people who surround the students when they leave every day, and mostly our students who actually did the work to get here, right? So it looks like we have a small but mighty graduating class tonight. You guys ready? All right, let's do it. Good evening. Before we get started, we'd like to acknowledge a few individuals who are with us here this evening. So if we could take a moment tonight to recognize a very special person, one of the founders of the Norman Howard School, who's in the audience tonight, Madeline C. Roding. We are gathered here tonight celebrating achievement, resilience, and success because of Madeline. She and our other schools' founders had a vision and a foundational belief that all children can succeed when given the opportunity and support to do so. For over 43 years and to this day, this belief infuses all aspects of our work. As you leave this evening, please notice that we have named the Norman Howard School's main entrance lobby after Madeline and our school's visionary founders. Thank you, Madeline, for your many years of involvement and an enduring dedication. It's our pleasure to dedicate the Madeline C. Roding Founders Foyer in your honor, and we look forward to getting together in the fall for the official reception and dedication. We'd also like to acknowledge the CEO of Education Success Foundation, Joe Martino, and our Norman Howard School Board of Trustees. Would Joe and the board please stand? We're happy to have you here with us tonight to celebrate the achievements of our graduates. Now, before we introduce our graduates, there are three amazing women we would like to acknowledge. First, Sherry Schrager, who's been with us for so many years and has not only taught students how to read, but she's taught them to love to read. And after this evening, Sherry's heading off to her retirement and her next adventure. Next, Vera Mack, who is the consummate teaching assistant. Teachers would quietly come to us, politely advocating for why Vera had to be in their classroom year after year. And then finally, for the last 4 years, we've had the privilege of Jen Baker's leadership. Her dedication, caring for faculty and students, and her sense of humor have made NHS a better place. Unfortunately, Jen cannot be with us this evening, but we would like to celebrate these amazing women. So, you know, each year I always say to people, I hope you have Kleenex, which I hadn't thought about until now, because I need some Kleenex. But anyway, each year seniors select someone who's had an important impact on their lives to speak for them at graduation. I will call each graduate and their speaker to the podium so that the speaker can share some insight regarding their soon-to-be high school graduate. So starting off, we have Ben Doremus speaking for Liam Hansen. So Liam.
I apologize, but you probably will not need any tissues for what I'm about to say. I was sitting at my desk when I looked up to find Alejandro Lisboa and Liam Hansen waiting quietly for me to address them. After giving them an inquisitive look, Alejandro, the diplomatic spokesman of the duo, said, "Liam has a question for you." Now, if you've spent any time within the perimeter of this fine building, you'll learn quickly that a follow-up to, "I have a question," or "so-and-so wants to ask you something," can go off into more directions than any one person can possibly imagine. Take all the words from the dictionary, place them on a big wall, cover the words with glue, throw a bunch of hamsters at it, take the words the hamsters stick to, and have a troop of monkeys string together a sentence, and it still may not match the wildest things heard within this institution. And that's just when the teachers are talking. The hamsters, by the way, are fine. The glue will wash off. And it doesn't have to be hamsters, any small rodent will do. Nothing bigger than a cat, though. I mean, who's gonna throw a bunch of cats at a sticky word wall? That's just crazy. So I said, "Right, what's up, Liam?" "I was wondering if you would speak for me at graduation," said Liam. I was surprised. I did not expect this, and in all honesty, it had been a while since the two of us had an opportunity to talk. "I'd be honored to speak for you," I replied. "You sure you want me to do it? I have a tendency to be more silly than serious or sentimental." "Yeah," he said. "I mean, I don't really want anyone to speak for me, but I guess I should, and other people can't do it." How could I resist an offer like that? Plus, he didn't want anything too serious, which, as you can see, worked out. I'm honored to be speaking for this intelligent, insightful, thoughtful young man standing before you. A couple of years back, I had the pleasure of teaching his older sister and heard about him through the perspective only an older sister can have, but hadn't met Liam yet. Actually, the first time I remember meeting him was outside of school, in the city, on the sidewalk, near my house. It's one thing for a student to see me out in the wild at the grocery store. It's another thing if they see me where I take refuge. So I panicked a little. What if he's a devious, mischievous little scamp who will ring my doorbell at 3:30 a.m. every summer, cover my trees with toilet paper every October, fill my mailbox with bugs every Valentine's Day, lure a scurry of wild squirrels to my basement every whatever season or month it is where squirrels fight each other? So I pretended to have moved quickly and made it a point to state my new address, 43 Brentwood Street, Rochester, New York, really loudly in his presence, and stood outside of Mr. Hermance's house on weekends, hoping Liam might walk by. Turns out all that fear was for naught. Liam is an upstanding individual, always respectful, dutiful, never malicious. I also learned more about Liam as he entered his sophomore year. He's into music like me, and I know that he appreciated listening to and analyzing the Pink Floyd Animals album before reading Orwell's Animal Farm. Liam is intelligent and witty. Liam is also honest. In his teacher assessment form that I handed out to students that year, I asked how knowledgeable he felt I was in the course content. He marked me as average. Liam also had a fairly solid grasp of the concepts discussed in English class. In writing about the dangers of tribalism for his ELA final assignment, Liam wrote the following about the Lord of the Flies novel. Ralph and Jack fought a lot. The whole group of boys was scared of the beast, and the boys were also stuck on an island. If I were in that situation, I would have handled it differently, preferably with less killing. I was in agreement with Liam, of course, but then I realized that preferably with less was not the same thing as none whatsoever. I usually try to give advice in these things, and I've already belabored the main points to you for 10 months during ELA. Constantly employ empathy. Avoid the dangers of tribalism, cognitive bias, and fallacy in your rhetoric. Get comfortable with nuance. Avoid the comforting familiarity of echo chambers. Do your research and be a responsible humanitarian. Your sophomore year in my classroom was cut short by COVID, and since then, on the darker days, it seems like the world has lost some of those values. It seems like we've also lost some of the similar niceties and manners and ethics, so I thought I'd leave you with a couple more pieces of more day-to-day advice. People seem to have forgotten proper hygiene standards since mandatory masks were in place. Take care of your teeth. It's okay if you skip a brush every now and then, but any longer than a couple of weeks, you might catch a case of bad breath. It's okay to say you don't know something. A little humility can go a long way. A lot of conspiracy theories have come out of COVID. Don't automatically believe what you hear. Not all of them are true. I don't believe in Bigfoot or chemtrails. However, I do think there's something sketchy about the perforated paper towels that they say it's so that you don't use as much when you're cleaning up something. But when my fiance cleans up a small spill of water on the counter, she uses the entire roll. You and I met during one of your city walks. People seem to have forgotten proper sidewalk etiquette since COVID hit. If you find yourself stuck behind a large group of people who won't share the path, don't start a fight. Instead, put on an expression of panic, run by or through them, and shout something non-confrontational, totally confusing and absurd. Something like, "The Dolphins have taken the White House. Keep your suntan lotion sharp. Get all the banana peels. I'll get help." Liam, I hope your next level of study brings you to some high places. Continue chasing your dreams, and you never know where you may end up. Look at me, I thought I was going to be an interpreter at Jurassic Park, so I took some dinosaur speaking classes. Growl, growl, sniff, sniff, scratch is Allosaurus for where's the library. Turns out there are no Jurassic Parks yet, but in the meantime, even though I've never even read a book in my life, I wound up here teaching English. The best of luck to you, Liam. Congratulations.
And now speaking for Brayden Hickey is Erica Hickey.
You can stand close to me, it's okay. Oh, I can't see anyone. All right, hello everyone. My name is Erica Hickey and I am Brayden's oldest sister. I'm joined here today by our parents, Brian and Rhonda, as well as our middle sister, Jenica. While today we're speaking and celebrating the culmination of Brayden's time in the classroom, today I'll be speaking on behalf of our whole family to recognize what we consider to be his biggest and most profound accomplishments. And for us, those are what he has taught us outside of the classroom. So Brayden never tries to fail. What did I say? That's on brand. Brayden never fails to try new things, from trap shooting to snowboarding and track and field, and more recently skateboarding. Brayden has had no fear of trying something new and always have fun while doing it, even if it's a little bit tough. Brayden has taught us the importance of keeping a level head and letting the little things go, because it'll all work out in the end. He's the calm to our family's chaos, and he always reminds us to just chill out. It'll all be okay. Brayden has taught us great work ethic as well. Not many know this, but over the past year, Brayden has worked in a professional powder coat and sandblasting facility, working alongside industry veterans with upwards of 20 years of experience. This sometimes meant waking up at 4:30 in the morning, working in conditions up above 90 degrees, and sometimes 10 to 12-hour days. He did this on his own accord. This was his choice to do. He learned to balance the joys of being young while demonstrating determination towards a successful future. And making a little money was kind of nice too. Brayden has taught us the importance of living authentically and embracing individuality. He is always unapologetically his very true self, and I'm sure those who have talked to him knows that he'll always tell it the way it is. Now, while we joke and we tease how he might be one of the sleepiest people we know, he is the little brother, but he towers over us. And we know that he will always jump at a chance to show off that gorgeous mane of hair. we know that Brayden is one of our greatest joys in life, and we are so incredibly proud of the man that he has become. You know, they joked about not crying, and I told you I wouldn't cry, and that's why he said, I'll have Erica read, because she doesn't cry. Well, I'm a really good liar, because I do cry. They say you never forget your favorite teacher, and our family is so incredibly lucky to have Brayden be our favorite teacher. Congrats, B, and no, you don't have to wake up at 6 a.m. tomorrow.
Jason Hermans will now speak for Zachary C. Kilgore.
It is an honor to speak on behalf of Zach Kilgore this evening. I have the pleasure of being his global studies teacher and serving as his advisor during his freshman and sophomore years. Having not taught Zach in the past couple years, it was a bit of a surprise when he asked me to speak for him, but then I started thinking, I must have really made an impression on him, chasing him through the halls for 2 years chanting, "Get to class, get to class." As Zach is known to move without a sense of alacrity when it comes to transitioning between classes and packing up at lunch, these words of wisdom from his old advisor clearly have stuck with him and led to me being his speaker tonight. As has been the case for all of us, Zach's last 2 years of school have been challenging. Zach learned remotely during his junior year and spent half of his day at the Womoko Culinary Arts program during his senior year. Zach has remained a strong and motivated student all the while. While online, he was generally engaged during instruction. Some of his teachers remarked about his ability to multitask between the day's lesson and whatever video game was intensely flashing light on his face. Although there were times his teachers were worried about his health and safety while online as well. Mr. Humphrey recalls the day Zach's dog got loose and he had to bolt from his computer and run down the street to recover his wayward pooch. And of course, there was the day Zach almost lost his toe, getting it stuck in his desk during an online class and not being able to extricate it. Zach felt he was going to lose his toe for a moment, and Mr. Humphreys considered dialing 911, but thankfully there was no need for an amputation. Besides multitasking, Zach is a young man of many strengths. One of his strengths is his pragmatism, which comes through in his desire to pursue the culinary arts at Womoko this school year. While Zach does not have an interest in pursuing a career as a chef, his decision does reflect forward thinking. He stated, I realize I don't know how to cook, and I need to learn so I can not starve. Zach, you are in a much better place than I was in my first apartment after college, microwaving hot dogs and leftover pizza for dinner. As his teacher, I was always impressed with Zach's empathy for his peers and his ability to listen carefully to what his classmates were expressing, ask them clarifying questions, and help them advocate to teachers. This is a skill that will serve you well in the future. Zach also has a passion for history and enjoys independently studying historical eras of interest to him. I enjoyed the opportunity to have higher level discussions about current events and class topics with Zach, and I was impressed with his ability to formulate and support his own unique opinions on current event issues. Zach wanted to be sure that this speech passed on his thanks to his family and for all their love and support through the years. In particular, his father, Mitchell, who has been a tireless advocate for Zach. He also wanted to thank his teachers for all their support and encouragement. He looks back fondly on the many experiential learning opportunities he had at Norman Howard through the years, particularly that trip to Seabreeze in the 8th grade where he got to study physics by getting on the rides. Next year, Zach will continue to pursue his education either at Monroe Community College or Roberts Wesleyan College, where he may study Homeland Security. Zach, your teachers wish you all the best in your future endeavors. Please keep in touch and keep us appraised of your future successes. I'll leave you with a quote from President Theodore Roosevelt. Believe you can, and you're halfway there. Congratulations, Zach.
Speaking for Alejandro Lisboa is Adam Salufo.
So just before Memorial Day, like a month ago, Jandro, as I like to refer to this young man next to me, but we'll also call him Ali or Alejandro when I need to get his attention, he approached me at the beginning of my first earth science class when he was supposed to be in his writing class. He said, "Hey, Mr. C, can you spare a couple of minutes to talk to me about graduation speaker?" I said, "Sure, no problem, but I'm trying to teach these kids about rocks and minerals." He waves that comment off and says, "They're fine." He then proceeds to tell me that for his high school graduation speaker, he wanted to ask the person whom he respected most in the world. I'm thinking, wow, I didn't know that he thought this way about me. Then he says, "I wanted to ask the smartest person I know to be my speaker." Again, I was in awe that he thought so much of me. Then he said, "I want to just ask the funniest person whom I've ever been around. I mean, I know I'm funny, but the funniest?" Then he concludes by saying that he wants his graduation speaker to have the best hair of anyone he knows. What can I say? I was totally speechless. As I'm coming out of my personal reverie and feeling pretty great about myself, he then said, "All those people are busy on graduation night, so can you do my speech?" I really thought I had the hair category won outright too. Now that that's out of the way, I can say that my name is Adam Salufo, and it's a pleasure to speak on behalf of Alejandro Lisboa tonight. I've known Jandro for 7 years since he joined my ski club as a 6th grader. I taught him earth science for 2 years. I've been his advisor for his entire high school career, which has been a long time. And he has participated in all my ecology overnight programs where we've made homemade maple syrup, done many late night cookouts, and burned a bunch of brush and wood. Jandro didn't speak a whole bunch when he first entered high school, but once we got used to each other, he rarely shuts up in the morning. He likes to regale me and the other advisees with stories of chopping wood, delivering wood to customers through his side hustle, working on his snowmobile during his junior year, and working on his truck this past year. Plus, he works at a farm by his house the last couple of years after school every day. He likes to point out that his truck is better than mine, and he thinks that he can beat me in a race down a rocket at Bristol. Yeah. Ali likes to make sure I do everything correctly in the garden too. But he took on a leadership role and was my go-to guy for many things we had to accomplish in our outdoor ecology program, even though he wasn't even in the class. As he spent half his day during this past senior year learning how to weld in his BOCES program. Our old-timer apple tree needed some limbs taken off, and as I was cutting them off, Jandro made sure to show me how his tree cutting skills were better and faster than mine. Just remember this on your graduation day. So long as your desire to explore is greater than your desire to not screw up, you're on the right track. Get it? I can stand up here and tell you all about what a nice guy Jandro is and how he used his powers for good, etc., but wouldn't it be a little bit more fun to highlight some stories about Ali that you may not know? Alejandro never came to school his final 2 years with NHS dress code clothing on. Ask Mrs. Ivers. The smell of some sort of fuel and exhaust was commonplace, and the pants were always acceptable. The giant steel-toed boots were a staple of his daily wardrobe, but the shirt category was a conundrum. He'd wear one of several hoodies, non-NHS issued gear. I tell him every day that before he left homeroom, he needed to make sure he had an NHS shirt on. Sometimes he borrowed Brandon's, because Brandon had an extra one in his bag. Sometimes he said, "Yep, I'll put it on when I get to Kay's class." And for other occasions, he would leave a shirt on the side shelf, throw it on, and head to class. He must have dropped it off at some point before he left for his welding program, of which he's a natural on top of his class, by the way. Because when I was cleaning up last week, there it was, that shirt, ready for him to throw it on so he would be in dress code. I threw it out, by the way. Yeah, it didn't smell good. I have a picture hanging up in my classroom from Mrs. Salad's ELA class where Ali is holding a sign that says "Mighty," as it was some sort of exercise from one of their class activities when he was a freshman. He was given the picture back and brought it to our room and said, "What do I do with this?" So after some sarcastic retorts from his buddies in homeroom, and as an afterthought, kind of to myself, I said, "You should write taco underneath," in homage to a fine dining establishment from Buffalo called Mighty Taco. Well, he and the other guys thought it was such a good idea, he wrote it, and it has adorned one of my walls ever since. On the all-day ski club, there's a tradition of some of the fine young bucks doing a shirtless run for their senior year and final Norman Howard ski club trip. I'm pretty sure Alejandro has done it 3 years straight. Even with all the COVID stuff, the breaks from school, teaching and learning from home, all the mask wearing, etc., this guy didn't lose his edge. Academics have definitely been a secondary part of John Rowe's life so far, but he's very capable, and when he puts his mind to it, he does a really nice job. He's one of those scary smart guys that doesn't have to try super hard because the common sense aspects are very apparent to him. He knows what he needs to do and how to work the system. While this tends to frustrate the adults and teachers, it is a solid life lesson. John Rowe will be very successful as an adult. He will make a bunch of money and he will do it his way. He loves to work with his hands and he likes making money. He's a natural at many hands-on activities, and just in the few overnights we had in our eco green space, I didn't have to ask him to do anything. He would gather wood, collect brush, smaller sticks, take on any sort of task. He would eat anything I made too, and between him and Brayden, a dozen burgers and a half dozen Zweigels would disappear pretty quickly. Man, I remember those days when I could eat a boatload, go run around, and never gain a pound. A long time ago. Finally, a few quotes, quips, and comments for you to ponder as you prepare for life out there in the world. 1, you will never have more energy or enthusiasm, hair, or brain cells than you have today. 2, follow your passion, stay true to yourself, never follow someone else's path. Unless you're in the woods and you're lost and you see a path. Then by all means, you should follow that. Finally, you don't have to run faster than the bear to get away. You just have to run faster than the guy next to you. We as a community will miss you around our halls, and I will miss your sarcasm, passion, and sense of humor, and your energy and enthusiasm for anything hands-on. Your family is extremely proud of you too. You can't imagine the sense of relief they're experiencing right now with your graduation. This would be a most opportune time to ask for money. Congrats and good luck, young man.
So Katie McKenzie will be reading for Jennifer Schultz for Ethan McNally.
Congratulations, Ethan, on this amazing accomplishment. Thank you for the honor of allowing me to speak on your behalf. When you shared with me your plan to take a year off of school to start working and study for your driver's license, I was incredibly proud of this bold decision. Heading straight to college is not the right choice for everyone. It is a brave choice to pause and will allow you the opportunity to think about your next big step, the career path you hope to embark on. Change can be very scary, but what I have learned is that times of major change or transition can be difficult, but they allow for learning and personal growth, and we all have seen how much you have grown over the past 4 years. I'll end by reminding you what Harry Styles once said: "A dream is only a dream until you decide to make it real." So Ethan, go find your dream. Congratulations.
And now speaking for Brandon Stowe is Brenda Ward.
Congratulations. I met Brandon when he walked into my kindergarten class 14 years ago. He had big blue eyes and the sweetest smile. His mom, Beth, soon became my #1 parent volunteer. Little did I know at that time, the Stowes and I would form a bond to last a lifetime. Watching Brandon grow up has been a great joy. Every summer we'd meet for a school lesson twice a week. Often he would stay for lunch or to just hang out and pick up bullet casings, right, from the shooting. And I became Aunt Brenda. Well, I could speak all night about this young man. I know I have to be brief. In fact, the letter said 2 minutes in very dark font. I decided to do an acrostic poem to describe his character. B is brave. Being brave means doing something even though you're scared. I watched Brandon exemplify bravery in many situations. One that sticks out most is when he was earning his scout badge for swimming. He was terrified he wouldn't do it, but he persevered and he did it. R is for resilient. Brandon has overcome many challenges. It's no secret that his anxiety can at times be crippling, But time and time again, I watch him work through it, pick himself back up, and move on stronger and wiser than before. A is for adventurous. Last year, Brandon earned the title of Eagle Scout. He has hiked mountains in the Adirondacks, camped, traveled, created, and biked his self-made ramps in the woods, performed works of community service, and even worked at a scout camp one summer where he had to stay away from home for 3 weeks. N is for noble. This characteristic Brandon possesses is evident in what he chooses to do in his free time. He is a dedicated firefighter. In fact, this summer, he will be taking a very difficult course that he is absolutely committed to that will allow him to go into burning buildings. D is for devoted. His faith in God and loyalty to his family and friends is demonstrated daily through actions and words. Last weekend, Brandon was in a horrible accident, and after looking at his truck, no one knows how he survived, but he does. Brandon knows God has a plan for him. O is for open-hearted. If you know Brandon, you know he wears his heart on his sleeve. He is compassionate towards all. If you ever see Brandon interact with animals, you'll notice that they are naturally drawn to him. His heart is big for all God's creatures, and I've even called him the animal whisperer. N is for noteworthy. Brandon is an exceptional human being. He strives to follow in the footsteps of his wonderful parents by being a kind, hardworking, respectful young man. And there it is, my brave, resilient, adventurous, noble, devoted, open-hearted, noteworthy Brandon. I have so many beautiful memories of watching you grow up, and tonight we will begin a new chapter, and the world is your open book. I can't wait to see where life takes you and where you take it. Congratulations.
So Jennifer Schultz, one of our reading teachers, is going to give Lauren's speech, but unfortunately she's not able to be here this evening. So Lauren, come on up, and I'm going to read Mrs. Schultz's speech to you. And she says, Lauren, congratulations on this amazing accomplishment. I know it was a long, hard road for you at times, and I am so proud of you for getting here. It amazes me how much I have watched you grow over the past 3 years. When I told you last year that I was going to have a baby, you were so excited for me. However, your excitement was short-lived. You gasped and said, "Wait, this means you're leaving me." I promised you I would be back to help you get across the stage, and you did it. Coming back from my maternity leave, a beautiful young woman with big goals stood where I'd left a moody and sometimes difficult teenager. I am incredibly proud of how far you have come. Speaking of difficult, you never ever let me teach you anything. Not any of your content assignments. You refused to participate in my Jane Austen book club. You even insisted I was not your reading teacher, saying, "You're only my study hall teacher." You've given me some grief over the years. Ironically, you've helped me learn, grow, and develop into a better teacher, mentor, and even a better mother to my own daughter. I can't thank you enough for the positive impact you've had on my life. I want to conclude by telling you that your #1 job going forward is to live your best life. Strive for happiness, joy, and fulfillment. Know that hard times are inevitable. They will hit you head on. Happens to everyone. You're not allowed to give up in these moments. You are to learn from the bad stuff. The hard stuff will make you stronger if you allow yourself to learn from it. And remember that the bad times help us to realize and appreciate how wonderful the good times are. Lauren, I love you and wish you nothing but a wonderful, beautiful life. Congratulations. Okay, so now we get to give out diplomas. So I'm going to have each graduate rise when I call your name, and you're going to come forward to accept your diploma from Mrs. Condon. Okay? All right. Liam Hansen. Brayden Hickey. Zachary Kilgore. Alejandro Lisboa. McNally. Stowe. And Lauren Elizabeth Welday. So we'd like to thank you for joining us for this special celebration. We'd like to invite you, all of you, to join us in the lobby for a reception to celebrate our graduates. Before we leave, parents and families, Bruce Bennett will be taking photographs of our graduates and families in the theater immediately following the ceremony. If you'd like a family photo taken with your graduate, please stay seated and we will call you up to have your photograph taken. So graduates, once you have processed, please come back into the theater so that you can have your photo taken with your family. So now, if all seniors could please rise. And we'd like you to move your tassel from the right side to the left side. And now it's our pleasure to introduce the Norman Howard School graduating class of 2022. Congratulations.